Oh my god, we did it. Thank you so much everyone for 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 people voluntarily clicking the subscribe button. Mind-blowing. Thank you so much. It's just amazing. I still cannot believe it. I randomly checked my subscriber count yesterday because my collaboration with Baldy Cats went live. Link in description, by the way, but I'm sure all of you know by now. And while scrolling through YouTube, I saw a post from Irish Demon congratulating J.L. Warren for 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, by the way. And I thought, let's check. And there I saw it. The 1,000. Oh my god. I never thought starting the YouTube channel that people would really enjoy watching my content, so thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. And stay tuned for Saturday. There will be a live stream at, I think, 10 p.m. my time. And stay tuned for Saturday, I think 10 p.m. my time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. There I will have the 1K subscriber special live stream, the official one. The unofficial one we just had yesterday when this video goes up. Because I will have some guests. You probably all know. I will have Limey Play, Irish Demon, Schrodinger's Cat, Team Skeptic, and FTFE. It will be a whole situation. It will be a whole lot of fun, I am pretty sure. And I'm just excited. We will play a drinking game. That's just a nice excuse to get hammered together, because I've been drinking with all of them individually and it was a lot of fun, and I thought, why not get hammered on my channel together? So I hope to see you all there. Despite all that, I was working on this video for quite a while now, because we will talk today about Jimmy Snow. He went on YouTube before with the name Dear Mr. Atheist, and I'm sure pretty much, or many people in our community know who he is. And that's why I decided to put the video on Science Sunday, because there's all science and debunking related content. And this video will pretty much be a debunk of Jimmy Snow with Jimmy Snow's statements and claims, because as you guys know, I I commented on the whole GABBIE HANNA saga, and in the last weeks, boy, was there a lot happening. She dropped her, or some, I think half of her 13 parts docu-series where she just picks fights with everyone out there that in some kind of way done her wrong, or she feels done her wrong. And if you guys can remember, I will put a card somewhere here in my second video, I think was it, in my GABBIE HANNA series. I was mentioning Rachel Oates, because there is a triangle happening with Jimmy, Rachel, and GABBIE, and that's what I want to talk about today. Just a quick rundown. Sounds quite wrong after all of the intro, but still, the whole thing happened because Rachel Oates made a review video of GABBIE HANNA's poetry book, and she wasn't very favorable, but not on GABBIE HANNA's persona or anything, just her poetry. Rachel makes it very clear in all of her videos she's only talking about the art, the poetry, and not the person. and she is very constructive. She shows why she doesn't like that particular poem, and she shows examples of a similar poem she enjoyed and gives tips, and also goes in really deep into all of it, also in things she likes, even about books she didn't like in general. She tries to find still positive things, and she's very constructive with everything. But GABBIE HANNA's poetry was weird, not really good, rushed. Most of it were more tweets than poems, and it was disappointing for the price people paid. And a few years later, GABBIE HANNA reached out to Rachel Oates, said, hey, I will launch a new poetry book, and can I send you one? And Rachel said, of course, yes, and thought it was with the implication to review the book, because that's what Rachel does primarily on her channel. So Rachel did another review, and there comes Jimmy into play. Jimmy thought it might be a great idea to reach out to Rachel, because GABBIE was crying on his channel and saying,
oh my god, people are hating on me, and she does another video.
He didn't know that when he reached out, the video was out already, and he didn't know that he was probably manipulated by GABBIE HANNA, and they had a big falling out. Rachel was shortly after this drunk on Twitter, and many misunderstandings. And a few months later, I think 6 months, GABBIE HANNA snapped at Rachel Oates. Nothing happened in between. Just 6 months later, she was like, but well, I didn't like this, so I'm getting angry now. And he didn't say anything. Fast forward to about a week or 2 weeks ago, he uploaded his video explaining all of this, and oh boy, is it a shit show. Let me tell you. He has claims like this.
That said, I am only going to tell the truth, and the good news is whether or not you believe me when I say that, I'm bringing receipts for the whole thing. The other reason why I resent this is this might make Rachel look bad, though some of the things she says gets close enough to like the exact opposite was true, that some of it feels bad, because it's like it feels like you're doing this on purpose. Saying I said things I didn't say, or misrepresenting things I didn't say, I think she might still think she's telling the truth. Yes, it is true, the controversy. GABBIE HANNA and I are friends. Rachel Oates and I were much closer friends than GABBIE and I ever were.
So claiming everything Rachel said is the exact opposite of what actually happened, claim one. He and Rachel were very close friends, much closer friends than he and GABBIE are. And he basically calls it delusional when he says it was completely wrong, but she does believe it's right. So let's just call her delusional, right? And we will all be delusional after this video, I at least hope, because I disagree with his receipts that Rachel lied, with his receipts that she totally misrepresented everything, and he is the only one in the right here. Baby boo boo. But just so you know, I was for the longest time a subscriber of Jimmy's. I am still a subscriber of Rachel's, and that's why I got so angry, because I always viewed him as a very rational person. That's how he presented himself to all of us, as a critical thinker. He's so rational, and that he fact checks stuff, which is all stuff that gets debunked by himself. So I'd say, let's go.
Yes, it is true, the controversy. GABBIE HANNA and I are friends. Rachel Oates and I were much closer friends than GABBIE and I ever were. I have, as I've mentioned, I hate the YouTube drama stuff, and from the moment of seeing that it was coming back up, I have avoided it as much as possible. So despite the fact that as it was happening, people were telling me, hey, GABBIE's talking about you on her story. She doesn't name you, but she is. I didn't even go look at those things. That's how much I don't want to be a part of it. So I actually can't really comment much more on that.
Which in my opinion already disproves the claim that he and Rachel were such close friends, because you ditched her for Gabbie Hanna. And also, after all of this happened, you didn't even bother checking what Gabbie said about you, about Rachel. You didn't bother to fact check after she was upset going to you and complaining about everything.
I'm so surprised they're saying you did this. So what's your side of it?
Take her side and reached out to Rachel.
Because I didn't do it. Because it isn't true.
You didn't avoid anything. You kind of were within starting it.
If Gabbie has said, so people have told me Gabbie has said these things about me on her story, that I had gone and approached Rachel and like called her a narcissist, or that people, I've seen different versions of the story of the things that Gabbie said, I said, but I can't find this stuff. People want to send it to me, that's fine. To me, what it sounds like is a person who is angry and saying a lot of angry things, and then just saying I said the same stuff. To tell you the truth, I want it known that I didn't say those things, but people never really surprise me in the way they say things when they're angry.
So, he didn't fact check if that's true, because it's so hard to find. Let me show you how hard to find it really is.
So we have a mutual friend who messaged her outside of me. I literally did not talk to him at all. He saw that she was doing, and he messaged her. He said, have some fucking compassion. You've been the center of hate campaigns online. Leave this girl alone. Like, you're just bullying. And then she started a Twitter campaign trying to say that I manipulated her friend into defending me. That's how narcissistic and abusive this person is, and how much she cannot accept any type of criticism.
Doesn't seem that hard to find to me, so sorry, Jimmy. Once again, not very true. I think it's quite interesting that when Gabbie claims something that isn't true, that is a misrepresentation, an untrue retelling, or a lie regarding what Jimmy has said, he just says, oh, it's surprising what people say when they're angry. But you do not have the same understanding and openness and excuse for Rachel.
I'm not saying it's okay. So basically what I'm saying here is if Gabbie said I said anything besides the messages I'm going to be sharing here in a moment, that isn't true. The current drama as it stands is that Gabbie has blown up at Rachel. And for the record, I don't agree with using sexist epithets like calling Rachel a bitch. I think that's a bad thing. And I think that I've had vocalized that to Gabbie the one time we talked about this a few weeks ago. And in general, to me, I see a person who broke down and kind of snapped and all of this criticism and it's sort of flown out. Doesn't excuse any of it.
Yeah, you try to excuse it because the reason Gabbie is one of the most hated people on the platform and she gets so much criticism is at least in a big part her own problem. Because you obviously cannot know because you are not checking what Gabbie Hanna does on the internet. You didn't even check what was happening when your friend Rachel got in heat because of your other friend. He uploaded his video after the first part of this series came out and people stepped forward and debunking everything. Until now, Jimmy hasn't even mentioned anything about the fact that Gabbie gaslighted, blackmailed, and even worse, re-traumatizes Jessie Smiles' drama. Because she always tries to use Jessie Smiles to vindicate herself. And that is so disgusting that Jessie Smiles, now pregnant with her rainbow baby, has no time to enjoy all of it because since she announced she's pregnant, Gabbie went in on her. And you support Gabbie on your platform publicly. And you as a creator with a fairly decent platform, you have the responsibility to check what kind of people you openly support. Because you, my friend, can't call yourself a feminist supporting Gabbie Hanna. But to criticism like I have had or have right now, he says this.
Acknowledging she liked my content. People were telling her to stay away from me, like stay away from him. You don't need to ruin him too. And I was literally sitting there going like, if you think she's so bad and you know what my content's about, shouldn't you root for my existence to make her better?
Which kind of makes sense in my mind that he and Gabbie are friends now, because they're both very manipulative. Why would you befriend another person only to change them? I'm sorry, Bobo, but that's not a friendship. That's manipulation.
Hi. So I have no expectations, but I thought you'd want to know, while I don't think Gabbie watches the videos themselves, I know the reactions people have to your videos about her poetry definitely hits her feelings. I'm not saying do or don't make the videos, but I thought you'd want to know that the human on the other side of it definitely experiences severe negativity because of it. She hasn't asked me to say this to you, by the way. She told me another one is coming, and it's obvious to me that she's messed up with anticipation.
So, when I would be Rachel, when I get this kind of message right after my video went live, I would feel manipulated. I would feel that Gabbie went deliberately to Jimmy, because he's our one mutual friend, to say, hey, please, how about talk to her? Maybe not that obvious, but it is a possibility when you think we're talking about GABBIE HANNA.
So let me explain a little bit of the context of what isn't in that message. When I say that she's messed up in anticipation, the reason wasn't because she was worried about another bad review. The actual thing I was reacting to, because when I sent this message, I believe it was already out or was about to be out, and I had no idea the review was out. The reason why I sent the message was I had seen the tweets and the things that were actually making Gabbie feel bad, because people were already attacking her prior to the review coming out, because there were, I think it was tweets and Instagram stories. And these were not constructive criticism, and I will stand by this all day long. It was things like, is it possible for Gabbie's poetry to make me physically ill? Things of that nature. Now listen, I'm not saying that Gabbie shouldn't be able to roll with the punches. In fact, Gabbie can roll with more punches than most people can, because she's one of the most hated people on the internet.
Yeah. Most hated person on the internet. The example Jimmy brought for those tweets, yes, kind of not nice, but the other tweets were like, is it possible for GABBIE HANNA's poetry to make my house look more untidy, or something like this? It were stupid funny tweets to ramp up the interest of the people, because as Rachel says herself, most people are not really interested in poetry reviews. So you spike up the interest beforehand. You can't disagree with the way she did it. Absolutely, no problem. But the way he went about it is wrong in my opinion, because in all of this here, in his message, he mentioned the word video 3 or 4 times. He referred to a video 2 times, and the word tweet came up 0 times. So how exactly should she know that you were talking about tweets?
So I was reacting not to the review itself, though I knew the review was coming. I had never, ever seen a single Rachel review or I have never in my adult life read a poetry book. I don't care about poetry.
Jimmy is angry at Rachel because she assumed he was talking about her videos. Because he assumed that her videos are like her tweets. Her very good friend that didn't even bother to check if her videos are like this, who never ever watched a video of hers reviewing poetry. So in my book, you just assumed as much as her. Why the hell do you think you have any right to be angry at her about all of this?
I was reacting to these tweets that were not constructive criticism, that were nasty tweets to make. And if Rachel and I were talking about this in private, I would say those aren't useful.
But why were you not just saying this to her? Hey, those tweets are not really constructive. Do you really want to do this?
So Rachel says back to me, she sent me the book knowing I'd review it. I wasn't going to do a fake review, which I have no problem with her saying, because at no point have I said do a fake review or don't review the book.
What about this clip?
I wasn't trying to attack you, and I didn't say you shouldn't do it. I thought the review was still coming, and I guess I hoped it might affect the way you speak about her. It might affect the way you speak about her.
So, you sent the message in your own words with the intention that it might affect the way she does the review. Because you thought she would do it differently, but still, in her mind, absolutely rightfully so, she saw you send her the message to change her opinion about the poetry book. So I'm sorry, Jimmy. You are in the wrong here, not Rachel.
Look, the problem is, at 5 minutes 30 seconds, I think it is, I'm just going to keep playing, she said this.
He felt a little bit manipulated because he said that Gabbie had gone to him and was like really upset that I was going to be making another video about her book. And I was like, but she asked me to. Like, and I didn't understand it. And there was like a whole thing. And I think there was just like a misunderstanding and miscommunication on like lots of sides.
So the thing is, that isn't what I said. And I know people are like, yeah, but you could read into that. Rachel's known me longer than that. She didn't know I had autism back then, but people do know now.
Of course, the white knight for Mrs. ADHD is now talking Mr. Autism. Of course. And I'm sorry, there's so many people with autism spectrum disorder that had made videos on this that all said, not an excuse, bro. Sorry.
But she also knew me well enough to know I communicate directly. The words I say are all the words I need. So let me explain a little bit of the context of what isn't in that message.
The words I say are all the words I need. Why do you still think you are in the right when you have to provide context for this message? That you were talking about the tweets and just assumed that her videos would be in the same kind of way. You just said she should know you better. She should know the context of the words missing in your message. And in the same sentence, go and say, yeah, but the words I use are the only ones I need. Where is the self-awareness in this? How is this the guy that claims to be such a critical thinker, to just research topics and didn't even bother watching a single video until this day mentioned in this video? He hasn't watched a single video of Rachel. He hasn't watched a single video of Gabbie about all of this. He goes only off of Gabbie's explanations, of Gabbie's lies. He ditched his friend without researching anything. And I'm sorry, when you take the same research for this video and put it in your other shows, I'm sorry, I have doubts about it. And the worst thing is that when he reviewed the book from, let's say, Girl Defined, he said in his own videos that he doesn't care about the feelings or opinions from the people he reviews the book because they put it out there and he's allowed to critique it.
It wasn't that she was upset that she was making a review. It was that she was sick with anticipation.
So, that I get this right, Rachel saying Gabbie gone to Jimmy and was upset that there was another video in the making from Rachel. And that is the complete opposite from Jimmy saying she told me there was another video coming, which is similar to Gabbie gone to Jimmy and was upset that there was another video coming, and that it hits Gabbie's feelings and she's messed up in anticipation, which you could put together and say she was upset. So it's not the exact opposite. She just felt manipulated reading this message. But the substance is the same.
Anyway, Shrey, that's absolute crap. I'm not going to be guilted into changing my opinion, which no one has asked her to do. I wasn't trying to attack you, and I didn't say you shouldn't do it. I thought the review was still coming, and I guess I hoped it might affect the way you speak about her.
Yes, you did.
I wasn't trying to attack you, and I didn't say you shouldn't do it. I thought the review was still coming, and I guess I hoped it might affect the way you speak about her. She's not even my most controversial friends. There is, I have political friends who... You know, imagine if other authors sent to review our book and said, but you should only publish the review if it's positive. Also never happened. If she doesn't want people critiquing her poetry, she should stop selling overpriced, awful poetry. Once again, so at this point, I still haven't seen any, to this day, I haven't seen her poetry reviews. I don't care about poetry, and there's no real reason for me. However, I have now just seen another example of her using what just seems like overly negative language. It seems to me like this picture in my head that was apparently wrong of what kind of review it would look like. It doesn't, at this point, nothing's telling me that picture in my head is wrong.
Yeah, because you didn't watch a single video of your friend. You just assumed. You said it yourself multiple times by now. Just only the clips I cut out of your 1 hour video. You assumed that her rhetoric was overly negative. Did you read the poetry book? Did you know that it wasn't awful? Because it is quite a possibility that a poetry book is just awful. And that isn't then overly negative. It was your own bias, your own opinion, based on nothing, that you deemed,
Oh, that's overly negative. I have to do something about it.
that's it. It was your bias. You that calls out the transformed wife, that calls out girl defined, because they're so biased in everything. It's such hypocrisy of you, and that is why I got angry. That is why in the beginning, I didn't want to make a video, because Rachel Oates said in her statement that she doesn't want to deal with it, talk about it, because it hurts her so much. But she was talking in her in a recent video about Jimmy and her ex-boyfriend and the GABBIE situation, so I figured it's fine now to say my piece, to give my 2 cents to all of this. But I really got angry because I thought better of him, which is in part my problem.
I honestly thought I should tell you because I thought it was something you'd like to know, and because I believed our friendship would at least result in you wanting to hear me out. I'm very sad that this has become a Twitter thing and has been directed at GABBIE too, more for those who obsessively hate her to glob onto. But then she quotes me, she told me another one is coming and is messed up in anticipation, which again, it's one of those things that I just don't respond to points that don't matter to me, because it's like, okay, so right, I definitely didn't say she cried.
Maybe, just an idea. Maybe that is why Rachel took it to Twitter, kept you anonymous, by the way, but maybe that's why she went to Twitter, because you don't respond to points you think are irrelevant to all of it.
A lot of people bring up this thing on Patreon that she was talking about, like, no, I'm trolling for the views or something. If that happened, because again, I don't know, I didn't see, it sounds to me like the kinds of things that I have seen her say, even in private, where I think she is trying to put a wall around her actual hurt, where I think she catches, like, I really did something that I don't like, and say that it was calculated and not just me having a bad. Listen, this is the thing. There's gonna be so many people in the comments that are like, at the end of the day, Jimmy, you're friends with GABBIE, and so you suck. And I think 99% of those people, if they had a one-on-one conversation with GABBIE, would feel really bad for what GABBIE goes through, and really feel like the amount GABBIE gets, she doesn't deserve, even when she's in the wrong.
Of course you didn't see anything, and of course you have to excuse everything, and you wonder now, and you say that,
Oh, if we would just talk to GABBIE, we would see what a kind of brave and strong woman she is.
that is a big F you into the faces of every victim of GABBIE Hanna. And there are so many. Rachel is one of them. Oscar Wilde, because he liked the tweet. Trisha Paytas. Jessie Smiles, of course, one of the biggest ones. There's so many people that she now tries to tear down with her because she knows she has nothing left. She is not the victim.
Rachel replies, well, I feel incredibly manipulated right now, and I wanted to know if I am the one in the wrong or not. She sent me her book with the implication that she wanted me to review it, and then cried to one mutual friend about the prospect of me reviewing it. I have no sympathy for that. That message from Rachel seemed so cold and out of character that I'm not surprised that in this interview she revealed that there was a lot of other stuff going on in her life. Because to say, I don't think she would accept from anybody them saying, whatever the thing is that made you cry, I have no sympathy for. And so it was bizarre to hear something like that when she has been someone that I thought so empathetic and kind in the past, and in tune to that kind of thing. I'm the kind of person when I'm in the right, if somehow that conversation still makes somebody cry, it still makes me feel horrible.
That really makes me angry. Yes, she was crying to you. Not crying with tears, crying like complaining. It's not that hard to understand. And the only thing that Rachel was saying is, I have no sympathy for a person sending me her book to review and then complaining about the fact I'm going to make a review. That was the gist of it. That was what Rachel said. That was what everyone except you understood. That it was just about the, hey, here's the book, go review it, and then go around and say, oh my god, you're reviewing it, I'm so scared. That was the thing. You were making such a big drama out of it. And that is why people think, Jimmy, why are you doing this? That seems so out of character. Because you did it.
And so then she also writes, did you know she reached out personally and sent me the book? And no, I didn't. But it doesn't really matter to what this conversation was supposed to be about. So I don't remember what the proximity to this too is when she starts drunk tweeting. But did you even see any of my videos on her book? The answer is no. Again, not really relevant. Though I guess there is a point in there where it's like, if the reviews themselves are mostly constructive and don't have the same little shitty quips that aren't constructive criticism, aren't cruel. If that is true and that's not, I don't know because I've never seen them. But yeah, I probably would have changed my approach and maybe I wouldn't have even brought up the review itself. And I might have just said, hey, just so you know, you two are both my friends. And when I see you write that kind of tweet, it kind of makes me wonder what's going on, because this seems like just mean for the sake of mean.
So, you indirectly said that you were in the wrong because you should have checked how she talks in her reviews. You should have checked if the video is already up, which are 2 points that you could have checked in one go. And you admittedly would have changed your approach in all of this. So, where's the apology? Where's the, I can see actually what you mean because I am wrong in here. And his response, you presumed an awful lot. So did you, Jimmy.
Well, I'm disappointed and sad too. This is from Rachel. Did you miss all the time I publicly said over and over how excited I was to see if she had improved? Yes, of course I did. How I really believe that she had learned. Yes, I missed that too. How I thought it was commendable for her to reach out to me for a review. Didn't see that either. Again, none of it matters to the original point. This is refuting something that isn't a conversation. That none of this would have changed. That I would say, just so you know, she's messed up in anticipation. Yeah, I probably would have changed my approach.
Why did Gabbie never mention to you that she sent Rachel the book? Because when she gets to a mutual friend of the person, the least she should have done would be, hi, I'm really nervous about this. Rachel has said she makes another video. I sent her the book and now I think it was probably a bad idea. Why didn't she mention it to you when you claim that she didn't manipulate you?
And again, all of that is true. And again, there are going to be people under this video who are like, don't care. We hate Gabbie and we think she deserves, we think Gabbie's in the wrong. We think Gabbie's bad. And Gabbie might be in the wrong. Gabbie might do bad things. But I still don't think that means, as her friend, I wouldn't say, hey, this thing hurts her. And by the way, as other people's friends, if Gabbie is hurting them, I would absolutely, as their friend, do something too. The reason why I haven't with Rachel is because I believe our friendship ended and it was because of Rachel's actions, which you're about to see.
So, you defended Gabbie blindly against your other friend, a much closer friend, what you claimed at least, without checking anything, and still think you were in the right. After all of this, after all these contradictions, after all your probably shouldn't have done that or probably should have checked that, but still, you don't see anything wrong with it. You don't see the manipulation from you and Gabbie. That's actually sad.
And then I read it was genuine. And then I read it. I think she means this. I was genuinely disappointed by it and wanted to express that. I literally, read the book. Never mind. I literally posted a whole Instagram story about how conflicted I was about posting the video, but I'm going to be honest with my critique. I'm not going to pretend her work is any good when it's not. I'm not going to go easy on her poetry because she screwed some people over and some people are mad. Again, none of these are things I've asked her to do at any point in this conversation. You've seen the whole conversation so far. I'm not saying that people might not infer it, but it is an unreasonable inference. That is too big of a jump, and it's too big of a presumption that I'm adding a bunch of context and intention that I wouldn't have just said. And again, Rachel, as my friend, knew my communication style, and I believe would have known that.
So, you said you never wanted her to go easy on Gabbie just because she gets more hate. But you said she gets so much hate, and I wanted with this to maybe change the approach you take when talking about her. Where is this a presumption? Where is this such big of a reach? You had the assumption of her talking in her videos, like in the tweets. You were the one assuming, not her. You very well said those things. You had to add so much context to clarify you were talking about the tweets, not the video. Because she just took your words for it. But your words were so vague and shitty that you needed the context to clarify it. And now you get angry for not seeing why she was reacting the way she was reacting. And don't get me wrong, she, in my opinion, shouldn't have gone to Twitter and everything. But this shouldn't excuse the fact that he ditched her as a friend as a whole because he thinks he did everything right. On one end, he says, you don't need a bunch of context when talking to me, but also here's the context because I didn't express it really good. And I assumed you were doing this, but also I'm angry at you because you assumed something. How do you not see this? And please explain to me in the comments if I just don't see something. If so, please, because I really enjoyed Jimmy's content. Even the Sometimes show, although not what I want to watch on a almost daily basis, but I every now and then watch it. But now I do not see him in the same light anymore. And if I just got something wrong, please tell me. I really would greatly appreciate it. But on this, I take Rachel's side.
To me, she has communicated that nothing, at no point during this has she tried to understand what I actually tried to say or what I was trying to, because she has not once, everything she is saying I'm not going to do, I never asked her to. In the end, this is what I wrote. I think I thought we were better friends, and maybe that's on me, but I really wish you'd had a convo with me. Your summary of what I said didn't feel accurate.
I think we established that you kind of did. And even if you really think that she didn't try to understand his position, the least you have to admit is that he didn't hers as well. So at the very least, they're both the same in this particular situation, and at the very worst, there was a misunderstanding and his ego in the middle of all of this.
But what happens after these messages, and I think I already said it, but actually this is the one after it happens, is she starts to drunk tweet. And I assume those tweets are still out there too and can be checked. But we have this sort of back and forth where she's asking to Twitter, but directly to me, what I want of her. And she's identified she's drunk, and I'm saying things like, you're drunk. Listen, I'm already really good at arguing, fully sober. I can be in the wrong, and I'm going to beat 90% of people in an argument. I'm just good at it.
I would disagree. Because if this video is you very greatly argumenting in a scripted video, or at least partially scripted, in a video you edited yourself, you could retake everything, you, while editing, put up your screen capture and everything, and you still think you're in the right. I'm sorry, your talent of arguing with people isn't as big as you think.
That's probably an exaggeration. People are like, oh God, Jimmy's bragging about his argument skills. I don't care if he's in the wrong now. Fuck it. But I'm already good at arguing, and I was basically saying like, I'm not gonna take advantage of you and like try and like have a tweet smackdown here now. And so, but it was a lot of this. What do you want from me? And it was literally like for my friend to have a one-on-one conversation with me,
which is a commendable thing. Credit where credit is due. To say, hey, you're drunk. We shouldn't do this here. Is the right thing to do. And yes, it was the wrong thing of Rachel to keep doing this. But I know how it is to have those mental health struggles. He knows too. And in the least, he should be able to sit down with her now after all of this. Watching her videos first, so he, for the first time, knows what he's talking about in all of this. Sit down and say, hey, I'm sorry. And she should say also, I'm sorry, I f***ed up. And then talk this out. But what rubs me the wrong way is his saint complex, because he didn't do anything wrong. He's so good at argumenting and in reasoning, even when he's wrong, in blah, 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 blah. And he doesn't see what a kind of asshole he is to his friend. And again, she did shitty things too, and she admitted to it, which is the least. Admitting to it and saying sorry. And that is a thing that Jimmy hasn't done until now. And that is why I am so petty in this video. Because I'm angry. I feel hurt for Rachel. Because in the way he speaks, at least in this video, in the way he tries to manipulate the whole thing, bringing up every now and again that he has autism, is manipulation. And who is the biggest manipulator on the internet? GABBIE HANNA. So I'm sorry that everyone on the internet can see how f***ed this all is. Your subscriber count says this too, but, and I did cut this out, but he mentioned in the beginning that his motivation doing this video is because he got pressured into saying something, and because his views are down and he loses subscribers. That is his motivation to do this. Not that he thinks anything is wrong with everything, and you can feel it. He has no remorse regarding anything of this situation. He's there saying, I lose money, I lose subscribers, so I have to do this. Fuck you. And you can feel it.
because at no point have you understood what I've been trying to say, or at least shown that you've understood. You've misrepresented everything I've said so far. So I just want to have that one-on-one. And that's the actual conversation that happened, all of it. Obviously, there's more stuff that happened on Twitter, but as far as the stuff actually between us, that she still seems to be representing that I tried to guilt her into not releasing a review, which is a thing that you have to pull out and go, if I add all of this context and add all of these things and add the fact that, and take away the fact that they were friends and she would have understood what he meant when he was talking, if you take all of that away and you add all the things you need to add, it takes a lot of work. I believe that I have adequately shown my side, and it would be ridiculous now for anybody to accuse me of the things that they have been accusing after they watch this, presumably watching all of it.
Guess I'm ridiculous. And you probably too. I know I seem as arrogant as him, but I really struggle to understand how he could see all of this and think he is the good one. Both f***ed up in this, but only one of them has seen where they f***ed up. And he doesn't see that he's so angry because of Rachel's assumptions that are based on his texts that are valid, in my opinion. But he started all of this because of his assumptions. How can you be angry when you did the same fucking thing? You started this, the whole misunderstanding, which she mentions so often in her interview, that it's just a misunderstanding. And he acknowledged it himself, but still says that everything is wrong what Rachel said, and these are his receipts that Rachel is completely in the wrong and he completely in the right. And I'm sorry, this is not happening with this bit of evidence.
Of course, Gabby and Rachel both still matter to me. How they feel still matter to me. That they are okay still matters to me. Even though I feel mad, honestly.
I venture to doubt, because you said before this.
And by the way, as other people's friends, if Gabby is hurting them, I would absolutely, as their friend, do something too. The reason why I have it with Rachel is because I believe our friendship ended, and it was because of Rachel's actions.
So how can you claim that you still want Rachel to feel good and that it matters to you how she feels, but during all of this avoided it actively? You didn't want to know that Gabby called Rachel a narcissistic bully and a bitch, and said that you claimed that Rachel bullies and blah 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 and gets a lot of hate, and you didn't watch a video of Rachel to maybe validate, to see if, okay, is it valid that Gabby is so afraid of Rachel's review? Because you would have seen that it's not the case. So I'm sorry, I don't think you really, I'm sorry, I don't think it matters to you how Rachel feels.
I don't know. Something's probably going to happen. There's going to be something in the future. Gabby will say something somewhere, and then someone will be like, oh, after what you said in that, what about now, Jimmy? I know. All that's coming in the future. And you know what? F off.
Yeah, now, for example.
I'm going to do my show. I'm going to do my activism, and I'm going to try and be a good friend to my friends. And that is the only thing I did, was trying to be a good friend to my friends. And if I did it wrong, it wasn't for lack of trying to do it the right way. And I will take correction on the right way to have done it, but not from a bunch of strangers on the internet. I'm going to talk to a therapist. Because a lot of people on the internet think that the stuff that they put in the comment section is that good. I can honestly say at the end of it that I believe I kept my promise. Everything I've told you is either the truth or what I am very sure is the truth. There was definitely no misinformation purposely given. If somebody has something that I got wrong, you're welcome to point it out.
So, in my opinion, people demanded exception and apologies for what he did do, at least in part, and that he didn't acknowledge any of it is hard for me to understand. That's why I wanted to make this video, because the standard many of his viewers have of him is, at least for me, is changed now. Because there is not much standard for me to have when this is your video proving everyone wrong and that you're the good guy and you're so good at argumenting, and this is what comes out of it. I'm sorry, but that isn't it. You are not the critical thinker you think you are. And I hope he talks to his therapist, because therapy is important for many, many people. But I doubt that he will tell his therapist the whole story. And when you're so resistant against any criticism, it's hard to think that you would tell the truth to your therapist, because you actually don't see where your problem is, where the problem is that you created and not everyone else. But maybe talk to GABBIE HANNA about it. I don't have much words to say in the outro for this, because I think I mentioned everything, most of it multiple times in the duration of this video. This is gonna be a long one. I don't know, it's just hard to understand. I will film an update when he puts out his next video about all of this, but I consciously made the decision to get this out before he comes out with his side of the next story. I don't know, because it's important to me, and it's still important when he backtracks in the end. I don't know if he backtracks. He can also double down on everything, but still, I think it was a shitty thing of him to do, and I have to say I unsubscribed. And I don't know if it's a definitive thing. I'm not that kind of person. I can jump from opinions when I've been proven wrong, unlike someone here. But I don't know. I hope you did like this video. Please stay tuned for a video on my cat, because not this here but the other child has a surgery soon. It is a big one, and I wanted to make a video on this because it is a topic you can't find much on the internet in general, and I want to share a little bit of this side. And on Wednesday is the big day. The next 2 weeks I try to upload 2 videos a week, but it is possible that I only get to 1 video a week, because worst case she doesn't come out of the surgery. I maybe won't upload for a bit then, but when she comes out of the surgery and everything is good, I still have to watch her every day, because she get a chest plate outside of her rib cage where they have to sew the ribs to it basically, and I have to watch her that the toe won't play too much. So the next few weeks in either case will be very stressful, and just so you guys know, thank you so much for everything, your support, for the subscriptions. It sounds like I have a magazine or something, but you know what I mean. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below. What did you think about all of this? Do you have a different opinion? Do you share my opinion? Just let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.